just want to kick off by welcoming everybody. You can post your questions in the chat throughout the presentation. I am Nikki. I am head of IBTC in South Africa. Today with me, I have Nicola Dean from BPP in the UK. Nicola is the head of CIMA Programmes at BPP, the provider with consistently higher pass rates than the global average. Sorry, Trevor, I know this is now a bit weird because you're speaking first, but ladies first, ladies first, they say. Okay, so I have Nicola with me from BPP, and she heads up CIMA Programmes at BPP. And what I want to say about this casual phrase that BPP is the provider with consistently higher pass rates than the global average is, I always like to point out to students that a lot of colleges can have good pass rates. It is the ability to have consistently higher pass rates than the global average that sets BPP apart. So Nicola, I'm keen to find out what you do at BPP and how much of that has to do with you.
Thanks, Nikki. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I'm just going to mute some people.
Super.
Yes.
Hi, Nikki. Hi, Trevor. And hi, everyone who's joining us. I'm delighted to be here today. As Nikki mentioned, my role at BPP is head of CIMA Programme, and it's my role to make sure our CIMA Programme is world leading and stays that way. As Nikki's mentioned, our pass rates consistently surpass the CIMA global averages. It doesn't happen by accident. I wish it did. So my job is to make sure that absolutely
I'm having a bit of an audio problem. Is everybody else?
Yeah, Nicola's locked up, unfortunately.
We can't hear her.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to wait for her to come back. But in the meantime, what she said is that surpassing the CIMA global average doesn't happen by accident. And Nicola's job is really to make sure, I know a lot about what Nicola does, and her job is to make sure that everything from their written material and their e-assessment questions to their computer assessment software, which is the same as the exam software, and the online learning hub, which we call the online portal, that it's all expertly tailored and continuously improved to give our CIMA students the best chance of passing the exam. It's also Nicola's role to ensure that their tutors and the lecturers are trained and supported, and the same goes for the global learning partners like IBTC. And where IBTC fits in with BPP is that IBTC is an exclusive learning partner in South Africa. So the two parties have come together. From IBTC's perspective, is we look to see who's getting really good pass rates and who has got pedagogically the best programs that's best suited for our market. And that is how we found BPP. And we wanted to bring that global standard to Africa, admittedly also at an African price, so that we can give the CIMA students the access that Sarah spoke about in the previous session. So we get a lot of support as IBTC and work very closely with BPP in order for us also to achieve these high pass rates. Nicola, are you back?
Thanks, Nikki. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. I'll try without video for when it comes to our session. Thanks for I heard you pick it up, and I think you did an excellent job at explaining what I do. Unfortunately, I don't have BPP bandwidth, so I shall do what I can do. Super. I'll stay quiet now and let Trevor do his piece and join you again shortly.
Excellent. Thank you, Nicola. I just want to introduce Trevor Robertshaw from CIMA, also based in the UK. Trevor, welcome, and thank you for joining us in this session. I'm very glad you are here today with our South African students. I sometimes feel we are very low down here on on the continent and sometimes feel very far removed from the UK and from CIMA. We are very lucky and happy that you are with us. What do you have in store for us today?
Well, I'm going to tell you a little bit about CIMA itself, about the qualification. We're going to talk about the future of finance, but also talk about CIMA from a global perspective. So we've got quite a bit to get through, fairly fast-paced. So without further ado, I'm going to push forward.
Excellent.
Right. First of all, CIMA, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants. Would you believe, been around for over 100 years? CIMA is in fact the world's largest body of management accountants. We're part of the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants, and we are a global organization, and I can't stress that too much. We are worldwide, as you'll see shortly. Now, once qualified, a CIMA graduate receives what we call the CGMA, or Chartered Global Management Accountant designation, and that designation is recognized worldwide. Just to push on that point of the global recognition, we currently have over 650,000 members and students, and the important part of that figure is that well over 500,000 of those people are fully qualified members, not just students. We currently have 33 offices globally, representing 180 countries, and CIMA graduates are currently employed by around about 173,000 employers worldwide. In terms of how do we relate with CIMA South Africa, well, effectively, the South African Qualifications Authority recognises CIMA as equally ranked to other accounting qualifications. And as such, CIMA has been aligned to the current South African National Qualifications, or NQF, framework. For example, the Certificate in Business Accounting is recognised at NQF Level 5, and the Chartered Management Accounting qualification is recognised at NQF Level 8. In terms of employers, CIMA South Africa works with employers to keep our qualifications and professional development up to date. We ensure our members are in demand and meet business needs, and employers in CIMA South Africa's current training partner schemes include Unilever, Toyota, Mass Stores, PwC, Key, PNG, ABSA, SARS, Transnet, and Rand Water. Now, in terms of universities, there are universities in South Africa that use the CIMA qualification to endorse their management accounting honours degrees. These include Northwest University, Nelson Mandela University, Stellenbosch, and University of Johannesburg. Additionally, many South African universities and business school qualifications are aligned to the CIMA syllabus to allow their students and graduates to receive exemptions and enter the CIMA qualification at a higher entry point. Now, moving on, one of the things I get asked most frequently is probably what is the difference between a management accountant and a traditional accountant? And I think in very simplistic terms, management accountants are focused on the future, and traditional accountants tend to look on past performance and past results. So effectively, a traditional accountant will analyse past finance performance for regulatory reporting. They create reports to satisfy internal regulations. They measure financial data only and compile data at set points of the year according to legislation, looking at quantitative data only. On this side of the coin, management accountants analyse data to make business decisions. They create reports for internal business use. They look at the future, not just the past, and are responsive to business needs, measuring finance and operational performance. Importantly, look at both quantitative and qualitative data. Just to summarise that, it's really all about looking beyond the numbers. All the skill sets here are going to be learnt and employed by CIMA graduates. So you'll be effectively guiding critical business decisions, combining financial expertise with business, providing strong leadership and managerial skills, and learning to successfully manage risk. In terms of the companies we work with, there's no right or wrong. Pretty much every sector of business and commerce is going to employ CIMA graduates. So it may well be financial services, it could be engineering, FMCG, retail. There's no right or wrong. CIMA graduates are employed in all of those sectors. Now, in terms of the roles you're going to be working in, whilst you're studying, you're going to be pretty much guaranteed to be in a financial role. Once you're qualified, though, there's no reason why you can't move to pretty much any part of the business that you should choose to do so. It could be a commercial role, it could be operations, it might be information management, and hopefully eventually executive roles such as chief executive, managing director, or CFO. This is a slide that everybody likes. How much can I earn? Bear in mind, these are UK figures based on UK businesses. So somebody starting the CIMA qualification at operational level will typically be earning around about £30,000 a year. Moving up to the final year strategic level at £38,000 a year. And once qualified, it's a whole different game. So you're pretty much doubling salary at £66,000 a year. So lots of nice holidays to look forward to. So in a nutshell, everything you see here is achievable for you as a CIMA graduate. The sky's the limit, and it's exactly down to you as to where you go, which direction, and pretty much when. Let me tell you now about the CIMA qualification itself and the future of finance. We update our qualification around about every 5 years or so, and we did this last year with the new 2019 syllabus. It's not something we enter into lightly. In order to do it this time, we went out to over 5,500 finance professionals globally in 150 different countries and 2,000 organizations. And really, we just asked 3 questions. What's finance doing now? What will finance be doing in the future? And what do we need to do as CIMA to make sure that you stay relevant as a CIMA graduate? Now, what we found is that there are 5 key factors currently driving the finance world. They are globalization, geopolitics, consumer empowerment, technology, and demography. Now you can see we've highlighted technology really because above and beyond the others, it's technology that's going to be moving forward and really affecting the finance world indefinitely from this day forth. You can really break down this technology into 2 sectors. Technology that's here now, such as cloud computing, visualization, and process robotics. And technology that's here in the future, and in some cases it's already here. So advanced analytics, cognitive computing, in-memory computing, and blockchain. Now, what does this mean for most businesses? Well, this slide here really represents a quarterly forecast put together by a global organization, as it said, every quarter, every 3 months. And you can see that doing it the traditional, I guess, accountancy, old-fashioned way took them 800 people, 1 month, and 16,000 working days to compile. And then guess what? Along came an RPA system where it takes 2 people, 2 days, and 4 working days in total. Now, with the best will in the world, we can't compete with that. And the frightening thing is that 4 days work is likely to go to 4 hours, then 4 minutes, and then eventually 4 seconds. And I think the 2 straplines at the bottom really summarize it well by saying not using RPA is the business equivalent of walking on the motorway. It's going to take you a long time to get there, and you're likely to get flattened in the process. And yet, frighteningly, only 3% of companies currently surveyed by KPMG believe their finance teams currently have the digital skills needed to push forward for the future. So where does that leave us? Who's going to be affected by all this change? Well, effectively, we all are moving forward. From managing others at 9%, stakeholder interactions 20%, applying expertise where we started to get involved at 18%, and then really the core sectors of the finance world, data processing, data collection, are frightening 69 and 64%. And again, the strapline at the bottom from McKinsey really says it all. These numbers come from where machines could replace humans, but where they can't, in brackets, yet. Don't take my word for this. These reports are on our website. They're free to download. Please have a look on the slides later. Click on the link, download the reports. Take about half an hour each, fairly easy on the eye. Even I can understand them, so we've got a chance. I recommend you start with the one in the center, change shape of the finance function. That will set the foundation for the rest of the reports, and then just branch out from there. So what does that mean for the CIMA qualification? Effectively, lots of D words: data strategy, data analytics, data visualization, digital technologies, digital strategy, digital costing, all new to the 2019 syllabus, along with things like cybersecurity for obvious reasons and ecosystem analysis. not just the green policies, but really how the whole infrastructure of the company hangs together and the cost implications of that. So let's have a look at the CIMA qualification in a bit more detail. The exams themselves are based on what we call the CGMA competency framework. Now, these are around 4 skill sets. They are technical, business, leadership, and people skills. And you'll notice that the shape has evolved from the square on the left to the new circular shape on the right-hand side, because those digital skills we just talked about apply to all of those skill sets equally, hence the new format. Now, this is a snapshot of the CIMA qualification in its entirety. Looks complicated, it's not, it's very straightforward. Just to run through it for you, it's in 4 levels, starting at the bottom, which is the certificate level, moving on to then the operational level, management level, and the final year, which is a strategic level. And you'll notice it's then broken down into 3 columns, starting with the green column on the right-hand side, which is the financial pillar. We then have the performance pillar in the center, and on the left-hand side, the enterprise pillar. In very simplistic terms, everything in green on the right incorporates the traditional financial skills you're going to learn with any finance qualification. Moving towards the center, we then teach you how to take those figures, that raw data, and put it into something that's more meaningful for business. So, for example, management accounting, advanced management accounting, and risk management. And then everything in the left-hand pillar is all about the business, how business functions, effectively organizational management, project and relationship management, and strategic management. Now, in terms of the exams, starting at the bottom, at the certificate level, you have here 4 exams that can be taken in any order. There are objective tests, 2 hours long each, on demand, and they can be taken either online or when the test centres reopen, they can be taken obviously at the Pearson VUE test centres. Moving up to the next level, the operational level, the format changes slightly here. This time you still have 3 objective tests, in this case E1, P1 and F1, but then to progress to the next level, you have to pass what we call a case study exam. Now, the case study exams themselves are 3-hour synoptic exams, and they're held 4 times a year in February, May, August, and November. And you must pass that exam before you can progress to the next level. Now, in terms of qualifying for the entire qualification, it will typically take between 3 and 5 years from start to finish. And in addition to passing the exams, you are also going to need to write up 3 years' worth of professional experience in order to gain CIMA membership. Moving on to exemptions, depending on what you studied previously, some of you may be liable to take exemptions. This example here is for a BSc in Honours and Accounting. You can see that everything that's greyed out in this instance is exempt from the CIMA qualification. Word of caution here, look, this is not a race, okay? The important thing is that you pass your exams the first time around. So what I'd say to anybody looking to take an exemption is have a look at the module you're being exempt from, look at the blueprints, look at the syllabus, and make sure you're absolutely comfortable with the subject matter within that framework. Because if you're not, or if it's been a few years before you studied it, or previously before you studied it, there's a good chance you won't be up to speed to pass the case study. You'll fall at that hurdle, and then you're back to square one. So remember, it's the tortoise, not the hare, quite often that wins the race. So please do bear that in mind. Right, one thing we've added this year is what we call the CIMA blueprints. These are really just designed to help you pass your exam first time round. They're in 3 sections, 3 documents, big about in 4 sections, 3 documents, 1 per level. The sections are an overview of the level that you're on, a case study business exam simulation, objective test representative tasks, and dependencies for formulas, etc., etc. In terms of studying for CIMA itself, number of options there, no right or wrong way. You can study with a tuition provider such as BPP. You can study online with mycimastudy.com. You can purchase the textbooks or materials, or you can use a combination of the above. As I said, there is no right or wrong way. It's really down to what works for you. Student benefits. Once you join CIMA and become a student, you'll have access to your student account, of which these are all part of that account. So lots of study support, There's a study planner on there to help you work out your revision and your study planning. We have a welcome pack, lots of revision support. In terms of news and events, the FM magazine is always worth a read. It's free, comes out monthly. It's a global finance magazine, well worth a look. We also have community networking. So there's a student group, CIMA Facebook groups, and the graduate club, and also a portal for your career. So we have a job site on there, lots of employer recognition, lots of recommendations there, and we have a salary checker just to make sure you're earning what you should be. Okay, so in terms of managing your CIMA journey, once you become a student, you get your own account where you can schedule your exams, access your exam results, access syllabus resources, and don't forget to start recording your 3 years worth of professional experience. A couple of life stories here in terms of examples. This is Serena. She's the financial controller at Sky. And as Serena says, my role at Sky is anything but boring. The company is dynamic and always changing, and finance has to play a big part in that. This is Richard Kinney. Richard works for the online clothes retailer ASOS, and he's the head of finance there. And as Richard says, I hold a number of positions across the business, ranging from buying and merchandising finance to a more central group reporting role. Now, the key thing here about both Richard and Serena is these are young people, they're probably early 30s, and you can see the level of experience and responsibility that they've got. There is absolutely nothing to stop you from achieving that sort of level if you put your mind to it. It is hard work. It's going to take a lot of your social life in terms of time and effort, but it's worth it in the longer term. So please bear that in mind. In terms of registering with CIMA, very straightforward, 4 steps. First of all, register as a student. Apply for exemptions, not forgetting what I said to you earlier about being a little bit careful as to what exemptions you take. Choose your study method, whether it be tuition provider or study at home or study online. And then last but not least, but equally important, schedule your first exam. Now, just to drill that point home, it is key that you sit your first exam within the first 3 months of starting CIMA. If you don't, all that will happen is 6, 12, 18 months will go past, you'll have achieved nothing, okay? Set your first exam in place. That will help you to guide your revision moving forward. You can always change the exam date if you need to, but just get yourself moving forward in the right direction. In terms of contacting CIMA, very straightforward, global number to call there, or you can use the Instagram option, Facebook, or Twitter. Again, no right or wrong, it's entirely up to you. And any questions?
Hi, thank you, Trevor. I do have a question from the audience, which is, you know, if you talk about exemptions, a question is always going to pop. So, Gonolo said, do we get a certificate on completion of every level? And if so, what does it mean if you started from management level due to exemptions?
Yes, you do. Effectively, depending on the level you've taken, you'll get the level of the qualification that you've just finished. So the management level itself, you'll be awarded once completed with the advanced diploma in management accounting.
If I get exempted from all 4 certificate level subjects, I won't get the certificate. Is that right?
As I understand it, that's correct. I will actually check that for you. It's a very good question, but as I understand it, you won't necessarily.
Yes, that's my understanding as well.
In business accounting.
You know what some of our students do? They, for various and assorted reasons, they might say, yes, I got exempted, but I feel a little bit, you know, I know that BA2 feeds into P1, and it's also a subject that I did so long ago, and it's the management accounting component. And if I don't take exemption for that one subject, then I can get my CIMA certificate in business accounting and still get the certificate because I wrote one exam at that level. So that sometimes, you know, there isn't a one approach fits all, but for some people that works really well. Also, what I find, Trevor, you and I chat about it or have spoken about it before, often people feel, oh, I wish I got as many exemptions as my buddy. But we like to say that if you take fewer exemptions now, it creates a better platform for you for your later studies, because they are a little bit like Lego blocks, aren't they?
They are, yes, they are, especially with the new content. From experience, if you've not studied a particular subject recently, then really you should think twice about taking the exemption. As I mentioned, the blueprints are free to download from the website. They have a lot of detail there about the exams and what you're going to be questioned on. So really have a look at those. If you're not up to speed, then you should take the syllabus, take that particular part of the module.
And then also often with the advanced placement, which is a form of exemption, if you like, students get to start at a case study level, and then they would effectively be exempted from the underlying EP and F subject. Then we always say, yes, you might be exempted from it, but you still actually need to go through all that material, either the blueprints to see that there are no knowledge gaps, or buy the books and study the material again in preparation for your case study. Do you think that's wise? Would you attempt a case study without revising the underlying EP and F subject?
No, I wouldn't. You've got to make sure that you've done at least some degree of past studying for those levels you're exempt from. As I mentioned, the new syllabus really means that is going to be absolutely crucial. All that will happen if you take the management case study, for example, without actually looking at the previous content in there because of exemptions, is you're likely to fail that particular module. And we know from previous experience that happens. So it is key that you spend some time back studying.
I like that, back studying. It's a term now that I'm going to adopt.
Always worth remembering.
Back studying. Okay. Thank you, Trevor. Thank you so much. Your time is up. I'm going to now move on to Nicola. Nicola, you represent a tuition provider today, and arguably BPP is the tuition provider with the best pass rates consistently, as we discussed before. I can see it still makes you put a smile on your face every time I mention that. Still, we know, Trevor, you'll know that there's still a lot of students who go it alone and they do not go with a tuition provider, which is fine. But what would you say, Nicola, is the role of the tuition provider, and can you unpack a bit where the value lies and what a tuition provider has on offer?
Hi, Nikki. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes,
Super. Of course, I'm going to say a tuition provider is the way to go, but actually there's a lot of value in a tuition provider. You can study by yourself, some people choose to, but there's a few things that really stand out. The first, most obvious one is having access to expert tutors, and they really are that. So all IBTC and BPP tutors are experts in their field. They know their subject matter inside and out. But they also know how to simplify often extremely complex topics and explain them to you in easy to digest ways. And that's something that even the best textbooks will struggle to do at times. Secondly, a tuition provider can give you a bit of structure. So to pass a professional qualification like CIMA, you've got a lot of papers to study for, and it takes a number of years to complete. So it's really important to stay motivated and keep on track, and that takes commitment, good planning, structure, support, and a good tuition provider will do all that for you, which means you just have to focus on your learning. And finally, it's more than just a textbook. So if you study with someone like IBTC, as I'll explain shortly, you get more than just a book or two to work through. You've got a whole host of online resources, from tutor recorded lectures to e-assessments, which replicate the real format of your real exam. So that's a few things just to give you a flavour. I hope it's done that. But I'm going to tell you a little bit more about BPP specifically and how we work in partnership with IBTC. Is that all right?
Sorry, yes, I was on mute.
That's fine. I was just checking that I wasn't just talking to myself and I was still with you. Yes. Feel free to jump in. All right, I'm going to start moving my slides on. Hopefully, there we go. So BPP, what do we do and who do we work with? So BPP has held a preferential tuition provider status with CIMA for as many years as we've been delivering CIMA courses. We've already touched on our industry-leading pass rates that are consistently well above global average, and that's one of the reasons that we were awarded the CIMA Global Pass Rate Excellence Award 2020. We've been operating for over 44 years with high quality premium tuition and materials, unrivaled standards of support, and that's really key. We work with students, tuition providers and employers in over 170 countries. We provide tutor resources for those tuition providers that we work with to help improve your learning experience. We are a provider of online classrooms and blended platforms. And we also deliver training to employees in 90% of FTSE 100 companies, educating professionals in 9 of the top 10 professional services firms. And, most importantly, we have world-leading pass rates. We'll mention that time and time again, because I think that's what's important when you are at the place you're at, when you just actually want to get your qualification. In South Africa, you know IBTC. It's lovely to have you here. It's so lovely to work with IBTC. I love it, everything we do with them. They're our exclusive South African partner, which means they're the only tuition provider in South Africa who offers the full suite of BPP resources. This means that they're using BPP's resources and study techniques in their classrooms. So you get our global standard because you're studying a global qualification to do a global exam, and I think that's really important that we're just sort of sharing that mindset here. And IBTC has chosen, I think, like you mentioned at the start, because of our pass rates. So, they know what we're doing and how we do it. And it's our job and my job to make sure that when we partner up with other training providers like IBTC, that we give them the skills and the tools in order to deliver the way that we do as well. And it's great to work with IBTC on this. So there's different ways that you can study to become qualified with IBTC, and I'm going to touch a little bit more on how BPP materials are integrated with that. Nikki, I wasn't sure whether you wanted to help a little bit with this slide to explain the offerings we have.
Yes, thank you. Yes. So I was actually answering a student in the chat and then got completely distracted. And then I thought, oh, maybe you are asking me something. I want to say, yes, we also really, really enjoy working with BPP. We often, I think one of our key strengths is collaboration, and we also work with partners in Southern Africa and in various countries, but every now and again, we partner with somebody with whom it's a little bit more difficult to work, and you realize that shared values and culture fit and love for processes and procedures or just methodology of working is critically important when selecting a partner. And I think after all these years with BPP, we have really found that we work well together. And it is probably because of a shared value and work approach. So what I would like to do now is let me just say, yes, okay. So let's chat a little bit about, so I imagine now you have the understanding of who is CIMA, who is BPP, and who is IBTC, and how we all fit together. And it's IBTC's vision for itself was that it wanted to find one of the best providers out there with the best resources, find programs of global quality and of the very highest standard, and bring it into Africa at an affordable price. So we have put our programs together, kind of benchmarked against what BPP does. So we've sat in BPP classes, they have shared with us how they train their lecturers, and we've taken all these, what we call internally best practices, and wrapped it around the BPP resources. So at the end of the day, we call our product something different, but at the end of it, let me tell you which products we've got. We have got campus classes, and what you get with the campus classes is the BPP study material I like to say click, click, ding dong. You get it delivered to your door, which is quite nice. And then immediately after that, you get access to the enhanced classroom, which is really the online portal. And on that online portal, you find recordings from the BPP lecturers. So I always say it's like, you know, I like to go to London and go and see what BPP is doing and visit CIMA and then go for a little bit of shopping on High Street. And I miss that I can't travel, but this is accessing the online classroom or the online portal and the enhanced classroom is like sitting in the front row of a class in London. And also on that online portal, you can do your online question practice and your mock exams. And that exam practice is on the same platform as the real exam. And that's critical because in your real exam, which you just paid a lot of money for, you don't then want to struggle with the tool and try to figure out, oh, I've just flagged things. I want to know, how do I get back to the summary to see the things that I flagged? So we've got campus classes. At the moment, we don't have them. We now have virtual classes, and it's the same as our campus classes, but instead of you coming to our campus at 6 o'clock, you would then just sign up on Zoom at 6 o'clock. So it runs on the same schedule. The classes are just on Zoom, but you still get your books delivered to your door, and you still get access to our online portal. Then we have BPP online classroom, and it's with all the online and the advent of all this new technology and things moving online, I think we are also going to see new terminology coming about because everything now sounds the same. But what makes the BPP online classes different is really that it is a shorter program where a UK tutor takes you through the online portal and sets a schedule and says, great, I'm going to get you ready in 6 to 8 weeks. Some subjects are 6 weeks because they are shorter or easier or there's less content. Some subjects are 7 weeks, some are 8 weeks, but I'm going to get you ready in a predetermined amount of time. And there's a date when the tutor joins with a cohort of students in that tutor's class. That tutor is managed, performance managed against the pass rate of that cohort. And the tutor would say, great, it's Monday. This week, I want you to do this, watch this video, do these question practice, read that, and submit that to me on Sunday. And next month, I say, oh, I see you have done something, you scored poorly. Here's a link to another video. So that's really what it is. It's an online classroom guided by a tutor on a set schedule. And finally, we offer a home study package, and we looked at our home study students and we always think, how can we add more value? A home study student is often somebody who either can't come to class or prefers not to come to class, and also is potentially a more diligent student, but you would just study from your books and you would sometimes miss that interaction. And what is the biggest value we can add for our home study student? And then we decided that was to give that student access to the online portal so that that student can then also sit in the front row of class. I like to say you can be in class even when you're not. So then at the end of the day, all the IBTC lecturers are trained in the BPP way. Nicola, are you talking about this? Then really our lecturers would then know how to use the BPP resources. So what BPP does, which is quite handy and might be too much detail, is but you put together a tutor pack, and often we speak to students about the blueprints. And we would say, in your blueprint, you can read it like this, and this is how it fits in with the competence. And I sometimes think it's a little bit much for students because they think I have to get through all that study material, and then I have to go and understand what the syllabus is and the blueprint. But at the end of the day, the very clever people at BPP figure all of that out and put it in the course design. And then all you need to do is go through the course. And it's the things that your tutor or your lecturer should know about. And that is why BPP then helps us to train we call them lecturers and you call them tutors. Hey, Nicola?
Yeah, that's super, Nikki. It's Yeah, you just sort of reminded me of some memories of when we first started doing online learning, sort of probably about 10 years ago or so now. And it was always really exciting, that first question, which was, where are you now? What's outside your window? Because they would just be somewhere sitting in the Caribbean looking out at the sunshine at a white beach. And I just, you know, when you're in a dreary high rise sometimes in London, because we had loads of centres in London, and some were nicer and some less nice. And we'd just be in a little office looking out and imagining we were there. So we really had global reach, and, you know, they would be literally across continents, and that's what's really exciting about our online platform. Obviously, it's evolved since we first launched that very first online platform. There's been lots of iterations, and there's, you know, this recent version, which we call the hub. So if I start talking about the hub, it's the same as what IBTC will refer to as the online portal. It's where you access all of your materials. And you can see on this slide, the little image at the end, you can access them on a desktop, a laptop, your iPad, and we've got this one is mobile optimized, and we're really proud of the way it's handling being able to watch lectures and, you know, attempt your question practice all through your mobile phone. So it really is it's your study resources in your pocket wherever you may be. So you get that with an IBTC course as well, which is brilliant. You know, that's one of the real perks of learning with IBTC. They use our hard copy materials. So I'll talk about them sort of briefly on the next page, and obviously you get access to expert tutors, whether that's standing in front of you at IBTC or online from either IBTC or BPP, and we've got access through the forums and support through that way as well.
Nicola,
yeah.
I just had a question from a student, and why I was a little bit distracted, because now I'm trying to answer the student on the side and trying to see how can I engage with you.
That's
and
fine.
now it took me so long to answer that student that my answer is a little bit hanging in the air. But I'm going to just clarify. We had a question where somebody asked, is BPP and Kaplan the same organization? Are you in collaboration, or are you competitors, or how does it work? And then I tried to clarify all of that, but by then the question is long gone. So I just wanted to clarify that BPP and Kaplan are not the same, and there's just two organizations who work towards preparing resources and material to help students prepare for their professional exams, or at least the part of BPP that I engage with. And both follow, I think, from my perspective, a slightly different pedagogy, a slightly different approach to teaching and learning, if you like. And some might be better for some students, and others might be better for other students, or some might be better for some regions and others might be better for other regions. One of the things that I learned from Barry at BPP, which I really liked, and my passion is education and the pedagogy, really, the art and science of teaching and learning. Because if you do it well, it's really easy for students, and if you do it poorly, then the journey is very hard for students. And I remember what Barry always said was that one of the pedagogic approaches that BPP follows is, and you can see it in your text, in your study text, is tell me, show me, let me try. So if you open the book, and even if you open the online portal, you can always see BPP follows that. You would tell me something, and then you would show me in an example, and then you would give me a question to try. And it is the way the brain likes to learn. Tell me, show me, let me try. And we learn something new. Tell me, show me, let me try. And that integration of showing, telling, and letting me try in the form of question practice is, for me, really a very natural approach to learning. And we felt it is a good match for the South African market. So I just wanted to put my comment about BPP and Kaplan in context, lest it be a little bit strange that I posted that.
I feel like I want to read what you said now, but I think it's beautifully put. You can see me smiling if I had my video on, but yeah, the tell me, show me, let me try is it's a wonderful thing that that we all enjoy teaching actually as well, because it just makes sense to us, and students are really responsive to it as well. It really helps. Brilliant. So we have that methodology throughout our course books. So you will get a copy of our course book, and that is a sort of one-stop shop learning material. So within that course book, we will tell you, then we will show you with an illustrated example, or if you're in a classroom, a tutor will talk through an example with you, and then you will have the opportunity to try it for yourself. And that's also how our course book is built up. We're going to talk a little bit more at my next session tomorrow about question practice and how critical it is. But as part of that, you're going to have an exam practice kit and lots of online questions as well. And those are the hard copy materials. But given that this is a computer-based exam, we do have a strong lean towards you doing most of the work using the online portal as well, just to get used to using the same format as the real exam does. So we sort of introduced it a little bit here. I'm just going to introduce it a little bit more. Once you're into the hub, the general structure is around these things called achievement ladder steps. And within each step, you basically have some learning content and some practice questions. That might be for a few different chapters. So the one on the screen shows the regulatory environment and conceptual framework. Once you've done those and done your question practice, then you will have a step or an exam, and that will bring all your learning together, and you'll know whether you've passed that first step. And then you move on into the next steps. The end of step 2, you won't just get tested on the content of step 2, it will build on and bring in the stuff from step 1. So you're building all the way through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Really, it should be the other way around. You're climbing the ladder until you get to the top. And step 6 is when you are finally ready, and you will know whether your exam ready or not by then as well. For case study, there are 5 steps, but the principle's very much the same in everything that we do.
I love the achievement ladder. I think the concept is so clear. That is a ladder. You start at step 1, and at every step you do the tell me, show me, let me try, and it always. I also like that there's different types of question practice. There's the practice and apply, which has a certain function. They're not exam standard, but it has the function to tell you, yes, you can move on to the next chapter, you know enough. And then when you get to your step test, it's closer to exam standard. And the function of those questions is that it tells you can move on to the next step. And I also like, I think it's you, Nicola, you often say the tests increase in complexity and scope until you are exam fit. And I think it is such a good sentence to describe how these questions and tests are designed to just give you a very easy journey up to exam fitness.
I think it sort of harks back to the bit at the start when you said what was the value with a tuition provider, and it's that bit around structure. So if you were sitting at home with the same materials, yes, you don't have the recorded lectures and the tutor support, but you wouldn't necessarily have that structure and mindset there for you. So that's where we do the hard work, and being able to check it off. A lot of us accountants like to just tick stuff off and write lists, and everybody likes to see progress as well. So you can tick off these little areas at the bottom. You can see there's a little snapshot, and then once you've completed everything, you know that there's no reason why you can't test and see where you're at. And these are exam standard questions. So, if you can pass these, it's great. And we will talk at my session tomorrow about how we use questions to learn. So not getting a question correct is not the end of the world. It's about attempting questions. And that's something we really, really value as well. And that's built into our approach.
Yes.
I think that's all I wanted to say. There was a slide, but I'm not going to play that one today.
You know what we can do? The online classroom that Nicola was going to demo, but I have a nice solution for it because we've run out of time, is to illustrate the package, which I refer to as the You Can Be Exam Ready in 6 to 8 weeks, where a tutor guides you through a scheduled program online. And we can put that on our experience page. And for those of you who didn't join us in the next session, in the previous session, what we do is we have a conference page, and as the sessions finish, we put the recording there for anybody who watched it, because people loved the first session as well. And you might have missed it and think, oh, I had such good comments about the previous session. Now you can go to the experience page and go and experience the conference all over again. And what I can do, Nicola, is put the video, the online classroom video on that page.
Good idea, I think, yeah. I think I missed out one of my key points, which I wanted to say was actually around the achievement ladder and why we've built that in. Not just why, but since we've launched it, which has been a good 6 years or so now, it's been well tested. I think since the last syllabus update from CIMA, so not the 2019 one, 2015, with our consistently higher pass rates, if you just attempt the achievement ladder steps, students will generally have 20 to 30% more chance of passing than an average CIMA student. So that's the sort of thing that we can do and we can provide to you, and IBTC can give to you to make sure that you're one of our consistently passing students.
Yes, and in case you are not,
yeah,
you can come back for free. Isn't that right? We have a pass assured promise. And we say, it's a phrase I stole from BPP. We are so confident that you will pass this time that you can come back for free if you don't. Exactly. So we are so sure that we feel we know exactly what you need to do to pass. And it's not rocket science. Here are some steps, you go through the steps and then you will pass. And in the unlikely event that you don't and something went wrong, then please do sign up for the very next one for free. And because based on that formula, you have a 20 to 30% better chance of passing. I've got a question for you, Nicola, which I always find quite interesting. I don't know if it's for you or I don't know if Trevor will know, but he might have something to say about the OT exams. I've always wondered, how does BPP ensure that the OT MUFI exams are as close to the exam questions as possible when there are no OT past exam papers you can refer to? How does that work?
That's easy from my point of view. No, it's fine. We've got a really close relationship with CIMA, and I sort of mentioned at the start, and that's where it's really important. Also, the expertise of our writers, we call our subject matter experts that write our materials. So specifically with this syllabus in mind and these exam questions that you are looking at, before this syllabus was launched, CIMA and BPP worked together with Kaplan, actually, since you brought them up earlier. So we are, working together with CIMA to make sure that the blueprint was brilliant, basically. So they reached out to valued partners like ourselves. They gave us proofs of concept in the early stages. They gave us drafts and asked us to do our worst, which you don't have to ask our subject matter experts twice to do. So they gave lots of feedback and they really valued it and incorporated it. So not only have we sort of helped work with CIMA in what has been produced, we also fully understand what they're trying to test, why they're testing it, how they're testing it, and at what level. And it's that close working relationship that we've had for many years that's so valuable. Once they were signed off, we were also involved in question writing workshops. I went along with our subject matter experts. We discussed everything you would want to know about writing CIMA exam questions. And it's the same workshops that all CIMA real exam question writers would attend. And in fact, sort of a significant number of our subject matter experts actually do write real exam questions for CIMA. So we've got a lot of confidence that we know what we're doing in this space. We also listen to student feedback. So if any student does feel that we haven't prepared them in some way, then we take it all on board straight away. We're constantly working, improving, enhancing. But yeah, we're really confident in what we do, and our pass rates speak for themselves.
Thank you for that. You told me something new tonight. I can see why you were excited to get that question. Now I will also have some. I feel I'm better equipped now to explain that to our students as well, because the question often comes up. Thank you for explaining that so eloquently. We have about 3 minutes left, and I would want to spend that and see if there's some questions. I did answer somebody's question earlier, and the person was so grateful and said, "Oh, thank you for answering my question. I thought you were ignoring me." Now I'm very worried that all these students are thinking that we do not want to answer their questions. My able assistant Pam, can you maybe give me a thumbs up, or we would, I imagine, be able to download all the questions, and in the course of, let's see if Pam already sent me a thumbs up now.
I'm here. Looking for my thumbs up.
You just can't find that button right now. I imagine we're going to download all the questions and make sure we answer everybody.
Yes, please pop your questions in the chat, and if you could pop it with your email address, that would be great. And we will get back to everybody if your question isn't answered in the session.
Okay. Okay. There is a question about the pass assured, and I'm very glad you bring it up. I want, Zolela also said, I thought you were avoiding my question because it's a hard one. I love hard questions. So the Sebo said, why do I have to pay for the pass assured when I'm told I can come back for free and I don't want to do that? Yes, but it's in our terms and conditions. But how it actually works is that we would say all the tuition and everything is for free, especially for online classes. But if you attend classes, we have to sign you up with BPP for that hub, for the online portal. I think it's 230 or 250 rand. So if you come back, we just ask you to cover that fee. And with case study, there's quite an expensive case study analysis in there. So we say, yes, you can come back for all the free tuition, but those elements that we just ask you to pay for those. So it could be for the toolkit for case study, and for home study, there might be nothing to pay. So we mostly just try to be very fair about it and put everything into our pass assured promise. So there's a whole page dedicated to exactly what you need to do to qualify and exactly what you need to contribute if not. So we are trying to be very upfront about that. But Sebo, thank you very much for your question so that we could clarify that. If there's some people who say, oh, I'm struggling to open a video, we're very good at our technical support. So our email address is studentservices@ibtc.co.za. Then we shoot an email off to BPP, who then jumps at fixing it. Let me see. Nicola, I'm just scrolling through the questions. When you spoke, what did you speak about? As you were talking about, how closely CIMA works with BPP and on that blueprint and the questions and question workshops. And I think it's just more and more evident the value of joining a tuition provider, because a student can't do that and work and study. And then when you join a tuition provider, you get access to all of that.
Yeah, so by association, you may as well be sitting in that exam writing workshop, but we just do all the hard work, sit through all the boring stuff, take the good stuff, make it magic, and pass it on.
Then we have a couple of people who say, are we in West Rand, and where can I find you in Durban? And are you the same as that other college? And no, we're not the same as the other college. We are this college. If we don't have a campus close to you, we always have virtual classes. And out of interest, Shirsa might be able to correct me if I'm wrong, but no, I'm not. Our attendance rate and our engagement rates increased once we started virtual classes. Literally our attendance, just more people came to more classes. So it's really something that I can recommend if you were previously excluded from coming to class. So if you're in Durban or in West Rand. Let me see. Okay, if anybody wants to point, let me just see, I've got 13 more questions.
I think something as well on moving online versus classroom. Certainly for us, we've always delivered online, and we've always tried to get more students from remote areas to engage with it, but COVID has meant that they've had to. And we've got a lot of natural conversions, people that won't go back to in-centre studying. Our pass rates have held. You know, they're brilliant and they've stayed brilliant. It hasn't impacted them anyway. We knew it wouldn't because we built great programs. But I think, you know, the first time you might think about doing an online class, you're nervous. You don't think you get the same out of it as if you were sitting in a classroom with a tutor. But we find our way to attack you through the screen. So we can engage in lots of ways, and we've been doing it for a lot of years. You know, Nikki, you've been doing a great job with the IBTC as well, so we work together and
yes, and then also we always say we have all the resources, and they're my resources, they're your resources.
Exactly.
So I have a tutor or a lecturer that comes to class on a Wednesday, maybe but you're on the home study program, but you want to chat to our lecturer. The lecturer can phone you, you can grab him before class, after class. Sometimes I even say we help everybody, even if you're not an IBTC student. We sometimes have students from other colleges coming to us, and we just want you to pass, you know, as we all do. We just want you to be successful. Then Tiara, I'm going to close off with Tiara. Tiara, I love your message. She said, I want to start CIMA. Could you kindly send me an email guiding me on the steps I would need to take to start my CIMA journey? I'm interested in the virtual online classes as I'm not located in Joburg. A breakdown of costs would also be greatly appreciated so that I may plan accordingly. You are our dream student with plans ahead. And thank you very much for offering these sessions. They are extremely informative and helpful. Tiara, thank you very much. We will mail you, and in case we don't do it fast enough, then you can always email info@ibtc.co.za. And then we have all of that ready. We've got consultants ready to guide you through. It's actually something I wanted to say earlier, that sometimes students struggle with that first bit, how to get CIMA how to register with CIMA, unsure how to deal with the exemptions, and just how to get started. And we want to take that pain away, or that uncertainty away. So from the very start engaging with us, and we can help you with CIMA registration. We also pay money over to CIMA, your registration and exemption, no exemption fee, more exam fees. But you just need to decide that you want to get started, and we will help you on that whole journey. Trevor, any final thoughts?
No, just to say thank you for everybody today for taking the time to listen to what we had to say. I hope you found it useful. Any questions, Nikki, that come out of this that we can't resolve here and now, just drop me a line. I'm happy to bounce those around as required. Excellent.
Thank you very much. Nicola, Trevor, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I love the session. I love the combination. I can tell from the students' responses that they really enjoyed the session. I just want to remind everybody about tomorrow's session. Tonight we had two for the next 2 days. So we have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 2 sessions a day, one at 5, one at 6. Tomorrow we've got Trevor's colleague Clancy, who is talking about "You have failed, what now?" I specifically asked Clancy to talk about that because we often focus on how to pass first time, but it is still a reality that students fail, and I don't want to see students fail time after time. Our worst is when students drop off and become disheartened. And I thought there are all these amazing resources that CIMA makes available. And if you knew how to use them, you could make minor adjustments for your next attempt, be it an OT or a case study. So that's interesting that would be interesting for you to attend. And then Nicola is up again tomorrow, and she gave her game away because the topic is CIMA success, how to pass CIMA faster. But earlier she said tomorrow's session is going to be about question practice. So now we know.
No, definitely not.
Okay. And
it's too important not to give the tip.
And then on Thursday we have the practical experience requirement and Dave Halford on essential case study preparation. So thank you, everybody. I'm going to call it a night. We are 7 minutes over and probably quite hungry, or in the UK, it's maybe time to go home. Thank you and good night. Any final questions you guys want to type in to make sure we respond to you? I'll give you some time to do that. But thank you, Nicola and Trevor, for joining us tonight.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Nikki.
Thanks all. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Yes, Nicolette de Jager, we share the same first name. We will, you will have access to all the recordings. We will put them all on a conference page, and we will send everybody the link. We have something that we call Register Assist. If you need help registering with CIMA and applying for your exemptions, then we can send you a form, you can complete it, and then we can do all of that legwork for you. Thank you, Sia Sangha, for your thank you. I hope you guys had a fun session. Sia Sangha, you said, can I start now or am I late for this year? You are definitely not late for this year. It's only March. I still need you to do a lot this year. So contact us and we'll see how we can get you started. Thank you. Good night, Sia Sangha. Guys, you can contact me on either Nikki at IBTC or info@ibtc.co.za. If you're currently a student, then student services at ibtc.co.za. If there's anything that's bothering you, anything you're uncertain about, we'd love to hear and fix it and help you along. Vernon, what are the prerequisites for someone to do CIMA with a BA in economics? You will probably be exempted. You can look up your exemptions on the CIMA site under exemption search, or email us tomorrow. We can look it up for you and tell you where you will get started on your CIMA qualification. Thank you very much, Pam.